Give us a couple minutes of grace here, folks. You got some folks signing in, want them to get placed, and then you will get started.
All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So if able, if you could please rise, join me for the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, go ahead and kick the thing off. It is 11 o'clock. Again, if you did not sign in, make sure you do that at the back of the table. Couple of quick housekeeping items before we get things started. We do have chairs up front, by the way. For those of you that are, we do have some open chairs here. Those are not reserved. So if you want to take these chairs, I think there's exactly enough for you.
Now,
Or I'm speaking French. Okay, so, a few housekeeping items. First of all, a big thank you to the Fayette County VSO and the American Legion here for setting us up so nicely. There are refreshments off to the side. There's coffee in the back if you need water or anything. The bar is right in the back. They can set you up with water. If you need to use the facilities, through the doors you came in on, and to the right side will be bathrooms for all. So if you need those, they're on that side. In case of any kind of inclement weather, we're going to shelter you here in place. So welcome. My name is Alan Graves. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the Chillicothe VA and the 7 sites of care throughout 17 counties of southern and southeastern Ohio. You'll hear more from me later. Before we jump right into it, we have a screen over here to the side. It is running exactly what the slides in front of you are. So if you have trouble seeing that, just pass around those slides. It's the exact same thing. I want to introduce those in the room before we get into our presenters. First of all, Kenneth Porter, our Medical Center Director. The rest of our ELT online, maybe. Okay, Dr. Robert Taylor, our Associate Medical Center Director. Catherine Hills, our Associate Director of Patient Care Services. Dr. Todd Tran, Chief of Staff, and not pictured there, Dr. Rebecca Houston, our Deputy Chief of Staff, as well as plenty of folks here off to the side. I'm not here for you guys to check because they'll hear from you. But we have Patty Scarberry, from primary care, Adam Jackson from primary care, Jason, covered against swag items from suicide prevention, and in the very back, Adam Jones and Ashley McAfee with eligibility. So if you have questions for eligibility and enrollment, those are your folks. Suicide prevention right there in the middle, and primary care up towards the front. And then presenting later on, our Chief of Veteran Experience, Derek Spikes, and one of our executive assistants, Dustin Dover, who will be here to talk about Kids Care, which is kicking off next week with our open house. So without further ado, again, welcome. It's my pleasure to present the director of the Chillicothe VA Medical Center, Mr. Ken.
Thanks, Alan. So I don't like microphones. They limit me, and since I can't have everybody in the front, I will bring the front to you and wander around. First of all, I do want to say the rest of the executive team does send their regrets. Dr. Tran and Dr. Houston are working on some projects around how we provide improved safety and mental health support for veterans who are living in our nursing homes, what we call community living centers. And Dr. Taylor is tied up in about 6 different things. He's our chief operating officer, so he's looking at all of our physical plant and making sure we provide a safe and comfortable environment for our teams. They send their regrets, and they also sent me, so we apologize. But I want to just talk a little bit about Chillicothe VA. Most of you have been to one of these before, but if you haven't, this is our quarterly stakeholder meeting. A lot of times, what we see in the room are our veteran service organizations and maybe some of our congressional folks. I'm really pleased. I'm really glad because everybody who is a veteran and who plays in the veteran space is a stakeholder in our VA. And that means we need to figure out how we best work with you, how we partner with you, whether you're with the sheriff's department, with local police, local government, the state, community organizations that provide services to our veterans, or if you're a veteran who has an interest in VA at all. So this is why we're here, because we need to hear from you. And we also need to make sure you know what we're doing and how that affects you personally and your members and the veterans you have the privilege of serving in the same way as we do. Chillicothe VA, if you're not familiar with us, we are not a general hospital. We used to be, but we are a specialty rehabilitation and mental health facility. Why is that important? We serve 17 counties in southern and southeastern Ohio. Do you know what southern and southeastern Ohio lacks? Rehabilitation and mental health facilities. Our identity is tied up in the reality that there are a lot of VA resources available that play in the general hospital's world. We need, our role is to provide exceptional care to those veterans where they need us the most. And what our data, what our analysis shows is that what the biggest challenge for southern and southeastern Ohio is access to high quality mental health care and high quality rehabilitative care. We are one of the few 5-star nursing homes that you will find in southern and southeastern Ohio. I've got 120 beds, and I have actually 134 of them. That's important to us because those are veterans who are frail, who need our care, and who need us to be available to them. Now, not every veteran needs a rehabilitation and mental health facility. So our other part of our mission is to provide an outstanding group practice, whether that is in primary care, mental health, medical and surgical specialty care. We're not going to have, we don't have the demand to need the fancy pants gamma knife or a robot that does all kinds of cool stuff that I can't even begin to understand. And I'm an administrator right now. I don't know how it works, but I know how much it costs. That's my background. But we're here to make sure that veterans who get care that is coordinated and exceptional for what we are able to provide to them, and that we are partnering with our community providers and with our fellow VA providers in Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, the rest of the state of Ohio, that we're coordinating that care. That's our job, and we feel very strongly about that mission because it allows us to provide the most care to the most veterans and partner for where it's far more subspecialized, but still finding a way to bring it into the community, into our veterans, accessible, whether it's through connected care. VA didn't invent telemedicine, but we were probably the first healthcare organization to take it to scale. It also means that we have to be sensitive to the needs of veterans in southern and southeastern Ohio. I grew up in Lima, midway between Toledo and Dayton, right smack in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know a whole lot about this region. So the last 2.5 years have been a learning curve for me. And one of the things I've learned and why we do these, about, I think, what, half of these meetings are on the road, Terry, is because what I've heard from our veterans, and any of you, in fact, is that we're sitting in Chillicothe and not going to you. That's why we. So, a couple of things that Chillicothe has done in the last 18 months that I feel like are important. We opened our Warriors Path acute inpatient rehabilitation. That's something that a lot of VAs, and certainly a lot of VAs our size, don't have. The idea that when somebody comes out of say a long hospitalization at OSU in Columbus, because they had complex needs, they were there, they can come back closer to home and get that exceptional care from their VA. We also opened our Serenity Square acute community living center neighborhood. The first of its kind facility that's designed to meet the needs of veterans with co-occurring mental health and rehabilitative needs. There are a lot of nursing homes in this community that if you have a mental health diagnosis, may not take. There are a lot of mental health facilities that if you need, because you're aging or you are, you have, mental illness or a activity of daily living need, they may not be accessible to you. So the idea behind Serenity Square is merging those two. In fact, that's one of the things that Dr. Tran, Dr. Houston, I think Ms. Hills are all working on right now is how we broaden the access for that neighborhood. We can bring more veterans into that who have more complex needs. We've been open for about a year. Warriors Path, acute inpatient rehab, about 18 months. Both are absolutely exceeding my wildest dream in terms of serving veterans. Our work now is figuring out how we do more. The other big thing, the other big burning platform for us right now is the fact that on June 6th, 2026, and the 82nd anniversary of D-Day, we go live with our new electronic health record, which is the federal electronic health record that is currently at use at DODs across the country and 6 VA medical centers. And why are you talking about that with us? Hey, it's 250 days away. We want to be able to we'll be on the same record as DOD facilities so that when a veteran leaves active service, when they exit the service, their medical record is accessible to us on day one. Not bring your entire medical record with you from your service for every sick call, procedure, vaccination, all that, accessible to us on day one. And when you go to Dayton, you come to Chillicothe, that record is fully accessible to us on day one. So if you're talking to your provider and your provider says, God, we need to see you at a higher level of care, I got an expert in Cleveland who's the only person in VA who does this work. We can get you there, and that record is fully accessible. Not go into some other program and maybe something's there or maybe something's not. It allows us to do that more effectively. And our community healthcare organizations are members of what we call health information exchanges. It allows us to pull in records from community providers more easily. It's a biggie. This is, the most complicated thing a healthcare organization will ever do, short of a merger, is a new record. And we're doing this on the same day as Dayton and Cincinnati. So we're working together. This is, I saw one of you doing this. Yeah, it's about a $10 to $12 billion project nationwide. It is not insignificant, but the value to veterans, I argue, is secondary. This allows us to integrate technology like AI to better look through a veteran's record and come up with treatment recommendations. It allows us to use tools like ambient dictation so your provider can spend more time talking to you because an AI in the background is helping them document their note. No more of, tell me about your symptoms, Mr. Jones. Now, hi, Mr. Jones. How you doing today? What's on? What brings you in? How can we help you? Conversations, relationship, engagement, all things that really matter to veterans in Southern Kentucky. There is so much good here, but it is a change for us. It is absolutely a big change for us. We've had the same electronic health record since Jesus was a corporal. And you know, his sergeant was in short pants. I mean, we are absolutely in the midst of a big change. I ask for your patience. But my number one goal in this doesn't have anything to do with getting staff trained, doesn't have anything to do with making sure all the interfaces work and all that. My number one goal is that you see no difference. That when you walk into clinic at Chillicothe, Athens, Cambridge, Lancaster, Marietta, Portsmouth, Wilmington, Wellston, you get the same level of care. We do not, your care is as good or better than the last time you saw us under the new system. That is the measure of success. That this works for you. That takes a lot of work on our part. It's okay. I'm here for the challenge. Next slide, Chair. You gotta have slide deck and you gotta have numbers. You know, so let's talk about unique veterans. We are right at about 23,000 unique veterans. I think we're on track to actually exceed that August number and see year-over-year growth. Right now, just from what we know through August, we're at 3.5% growth in actual unique veterans served over 2 years ago. A 1.9% decrease in veterans who are receiving non-VA care because we built new services, dermatology, urology. We built new services so those veterans are actually able to still have a choice, but now have more access to VA services. Almost 10% growth in outpatient visits. So literally veterans, times they've been seen, 10% more than 2 years ago. 8.3% increase in encounters. That's something we use. You can have, it's complicated, don't worry about it. Admissions, 27.2% growth in admissions over 2 years. We've opened more beds on our rehabilitation unit for chronic mental illness, PTSD, and substance use. We've added more beds, reopened more beds over the last 2 years in acute mental health. And then I think we've got 13 new beds between our surrounding square neighborhood and our acute inpatient rehabilitation. And, oh, by the way, we reopened some community living centers, some more nursing home beds. And then our average daily census in August of fiscal year 23, it was 133 veterans on our campus at any given time. It's up to 175. And that is not nothing. That is lives that are being improved by getting access to services, by getting access to care in the hospital or in a rehabilitation environment that they need. So we're pretty proud of that. Actually, I need to frame that. I mean, not many places can say over 2 years they've seen a 25% increase. I'll take it, 8 days a week. Next slide. Okay, so I like to play stump to jump. So I'm sure we're going to have a time for broader questions. But before are there any big questions that I can answer for you? Yes, sir.
Is the new system that you're talking about also going to integrate with the TAP system to help you guys and veterans exiting service be able to go straight into VA care instead of being tossed out into the world with no help?
So that's a great question. I have to tell you, I don't know the answer to that question. My team and I will find out about that. What I will say though is, you're exactly right. The more we can do to connect with veterans at the point of discharge, and I get it, a lot of veterans, they leave active service, they don't know where they're gonna end up with their home record. And then they move back to their family's house for about 2 weeks, and then they're off to North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, somewhere with better, veteran tax benefits and employment opportunities. And that creates challenges there. So even if it doesn't, our job, and what I've spent a lot of time working with, real frankly, this team, Ashley and Adam back there have been to more veteran events like around yellow ribbon events, talking to military units, talking to, I'm sure you've heard about the whole thing with the Excel plant in Chillicothe, getting out and finding out those veterans. So we're also working with the Department of Transportation. I think we need to call the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. Find out every veteran who's got a veteran hunter permit. Making sure we're providing that outreach. So we don't just have to look at it from TAPS at the point of discharge, but continuous. Because today at TAPS, you may not be ready for answering questions about do you want to get VA healthcare. But a year later, 6 months later, you may think I need this. Now I'm ready. We got to constantly, it's our job to constantly be working with you, offering those services. Even if you're not, I've known veterans who haven't gotten VA care for 50 years post-discharge. They weren't ready for 50 years. 50 years post-discharge, VA is still there and they're ready. That's our job, but you're exactly right. The more we integrate with those systems, the better off I think we all will be, especially once we're fully live nationally with this system and every VA can see every DoD facility's record and we're able to more fully integrate. That's the real promise. Great question, sir. Long answer to a short question. Sir.
Is this the same system that Columbus already has?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, okay, yes and no. On a broad scale, yes. However, since Columbus went live, there have been over 1,000 modifications to the system based on feedback from staff, from veterans, from our community. So yes, broadly, but it is a very different system because of what we learned from our deployments in Spokane, Columbus, Walla Walla, Roseburg, Oregon, White City, Oregon, and just recently the James F. Lovell Federal Health Center.
So when this goes live all the way,
Yeah.
I will have to use 2 different systems that I currently have to use to get all my information.
Yeah, we will be integrated. So once we go live, we're going to be integrated with Columbus. We'll be able to see everything Columbus did. Columbus wants to schedule an appointment in Chillicothe. We're going to be working it out so that you don't have to call us. We can get that done. That's the real promise. Really an integrated health system. That's what you deserve. That's what you earn. Not 171 different hospitals doing 171 different. Great question. Love it. The back of the room is winning. So this side of the room, front of the room, and maybe the question's not for me. Maybe it's for Ashley, Adam, Jason, Adam, Patty. Whoever the question's for, we're ready. Elaine Stoltzworth, a Chillicothe VA alumni.
Hey, guys, so I guess I'm not up on it anymore, but with the whole federal and then new current administration, what is it before, under that Dreamers thing, they wanted to close the Chillicothe VA. I just wondered if that's a no-go anymore, and if it may come up again, just trying to downside.
I will tell you, just in the course of my career, I've seen 3 different projects that talk about how do we right size VA in terms of facilities. And I don't think any of them have really taken off and executing those plans. However, what Elaine is referring to is the market assessments that were put it under the PAC or the mission. There has been discussion, and I think this is not the first time people have asked about Chillicothe and its mission and, how might it be better organized? That effort was a catalyst for us. It is why we remissions. It is why we doubled down on rehabilitation and health. Because I don't think anybody agrees with the idea that there shouldn't be I don't think there's a lot of support for there shouldn't be a Chillicothe VA. But I do think there's a lot of support for Chillicothe VA has to do a better job of paying off the promise that it makes to them. So while the discussion might have been closing down Chillicothe VA, the outcome of that was Chillicothe VA taking on the idea of we need a new identity and we need to be something that VA doesn't have. So Serenity Square, Warriors Path, our focus on rehabilitation and mental health with an outstanding group practice is all jumping off from there. So the next time somebody says, why do we have a Chillicothe VA? There's your reason. And it's clear and concise and understandable. And I keep repeating it at every one of these meetings because that's important. VA doesn't have too many facilities that have said we are not something and we are something. That's what we've changed. But you didn't come here to hear from me. I mean, maybe you did, and I'm sorry. Maybe my mother paid you. But you did come here to hear from other folks. So I'm going to turn it over to Dustin Dover. He can talk about another thing that is very unique to Chillicothe VA, which is VA Kids Care.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. So I got to stand pretty close to this. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm not quite used to
I
that.
need to move and talk loud.
Move and talk loud. That's the recommendation. So thanks for coming. I think that I'm Dustin Dover. I am one of the HSSs that works with our executive leadership team. And amongst one of my duties is opening up a program that's actually the first in the country. And I think that just goes to show you the innovation in Chillicothe to be able to bring something like this to veterans. And it is a drop-in child care center. It's going to be called VA Kids Care, and it opens up on October the 6th. This is a really, really unique opportunity for veterans that are getting some of the care that we focus on, and Mr. Mortimer mentioned in his talk about focusing on behavioral health needs, mental health care. It's really difficult to manage that and manage a child if that's your responsibility. And you may or may not know that one of the largest growing enrollee population in the country for veterans are female veterans who are typically their caregivers of these young ones. So being able to bring this to our community is a real win. So having said that, we've got the location up here. It's building 31, room G211. And we kind of like to refer to that as Broadway and Monopoly. So it's one of those blue spaces where it's high traffic. Highly utilized, and it was kind of important to get this where it's going to be highly visible to those veterans that are walking in and able to see what we're doing. Next slide, please. So this is the bottom line up front, and this is kind of gives you a little background on the what. And essentially, law was written by Congress that said you have to provide some kind of child care every VA by X date. And Chillicothe was innovative and thought, well, we've got some open space right now. Let's see if we can bring this to Chillicothe. So we did. And as such, it's a centrally funded program. So it's not something that's necessarily coming out of our budget locally. And that really gives us a lot of leeway to make this pitch to veterans that this is something really important for them to get their care. The eligibility is pretty broad. You've got to be a veteran. You've got to be a primary caretaker of a child. Got to have a scheduled appointment that day. So if you have pretty much any kind of appointment and you need care during that appointment, we have licensed child care providers that will be on site to take care of that child for up to 3 hours. It's a really secure unit. It's got 2 locked doors that are glass and you've got to be buzzed through. So we really take safety very seriously. And if the child is between the ages of 6 weeks to 12 years, we'll take no charge to the veteran, absolutely no cost whatsoever. The only thing that you have to do is basically fill out a one-sheet piece of paper that says, who's the kid, who are you, who's the emergency contact for this child? And while you go to the appointment and you get the care you need, there will be some playing with the kid and taking care of your child and make sure the kid is having a good time, so you don't have to be distracted. So we're really excited about this. It's gonna be open Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5. It's gonna be a half hour week before we open and a half hour after we close. No federal holidays, just like our other clinics. So that's kind of the bottom line up front. Next slide. This is just a little map. It might be a little bit difficult to see about where we're located at, but if you can imagine that building 31 area, that's kind of where a lot of services are taking place, where our welcome center is. This will be right by the central elevators. So it's between that and the radiology unit. We do have a couple of reserved parking spaces just outside of that building in the little kind of turnaround area. They will be well marked, but you'll be able to park there for a few minutes, run the kid in through the building 3031 connector, fill out your paper one time. You don't have to do it every time. Drop off the kiddo, go to your appointment, move your car, we'll be good to go. Next slide. And this is a little bit of a more in-depth zoom-in view of where it is. It's kind of a larger circle, but it's there in the bottom left-hand portion of that. Just outside of that, those elevators, there's going to be an entry door. You'll see it, it'll be well advertised, but we really hope that folks are able to see this and find it pretty easily. We do have an open house coming up, and it's going to be scheduled for October the 2nd. And this allows folks to come in and meet the staff that are going to be taking care of your kids. Again, these are not VA employees, they're licensed child care providers. Okay, they're going to be folks that are specifically trained to do this job. I talk to them every day. They've been here for about 3 weeks. They are incredibly enthusiastic and probably the kindest people I know outside of maybe a couple of people up front here. But it absolutely gives you the ability to pre-register your children on site. Please.
What are the ratios going to be?
That's a really great question, and I'm not going to give you the specific answer, but I'm going to give you a general answer, okay? VA, providing childcare is a little bit different. We do follow state mandates, but I will tell you that this company is actually going to staff it to a higher ratio than the state of Ohio requires. Okay, so.
There's not like a chance of being turned away.
Absolutely not. No, we will be equipped to handle children. And they will do such at a ratio probably higher than what you're expecting if you're getting care of the private sector.
And I think to add on to Dustin's point, you know, I almost say we want stress on the system because we want to be able to work with that contractor early to, you know, we don't want it to, okay, well, we're great. And then demand explodes. I'd rather have it explode, get to a point where we get more heads on those in order to provide care to the children. And then as that trickles off, I'd rather work down than work up. So that's one reason why I think Dustin is making such an important pitch. Why it's so important that he's here is because we want to see that population early. We can work with the contractor early from a position of this is working, rather than a position of, okay, now you need to very quickly staff up in order to meet the contractual obligations. Does that make sense?
I couldn't agree more. I think that being as how we are first in the country, there are a lot of kinks that we're going to work out as we open up. Having said that, one kink that I'm very confident that we're not going to work out is safety. Right, we're going to be in a very safe environment. There are eyes in the sky. That everybody on campus is prepared for this. Well, fortunately, we have our own fire department. Kids are going to be taken care of. They're going to be taken care of. So we have a grand opening on October the 6th. That'll be at 7:30. That'll be a Monday. So if you want to come in at 7:30, if you've got an appointment that day, we'll happily take care of kids for up to 3 hours.
Up to 3 hours. So please don't drop them up at 7:30 for your noon appointment.
Please.
Up to 3 hours.
Correct. So I get asked this question kind of frequently, and I just kind of wanted to buzz through this slide real quick. Everybody loves data in the VA. It's kind of one of the things we get a lot of. And this is the projected utilization. So we don't really know what the demand looks like. You can look at your peers, you can look at people you know and kind of guess. We've had a table out front, kind of getting some early registers, but we don't really know. But we can anticipate that potentially we might have about 1,300 encounters taking care of kiddos. Because it's not just young folks, right? It's grandparents that take care of kiddos. It's grandparents that have appointments. And the goal of this kind of outreach is to be able to get that word out. Since it is a brand new program, how do you get that word out to people? And I hear people say, well, I don't have kids. My kids are grown, right? Or I have my puppies. And I said, well, you never know if you're going to be interacting with someone. You know, these kind of groups are really important because you may be interacting with somebody that says, I would love to go to the VA and get my mental health care, which is something we really focus on. But I have a kid on Monday through Friday. Well, now we can help you with that. Next slide. So some of the reasons why this is important as well is that it's not just for veterans, it's for staff members as well. And I just ran into a dentist a couple of weeks ago that was telling me that they had a kiddo upstairs in a swirly chair with some crayons trying to figure out what to do while they were cleaning the veteran's teeth. Well, now that this is going to be an option for our providers to be able to make sure that they're able to focus on the veteran without the distraction of the child. 58% no-show cancellation rate related to needing childcare. That's huge. And if we can remove that barrier in Chillicothe, we're going to try to do that. Veterans and physicians have stated that children in the exam room negatively impact the quality of care. It's hard to focus. If you're in those intense one-on-one meetings, it's really difficult to focus on what you need to do moving forward and get into those sensitive issues if you have a child. So hopefully we can help with that. So these were some of the options that were presented to veterans overall nationally before this law was enacted, the Isaacs and Rowe Act, and it's essentially how would you like to be paid? Chillicothe is in a little bit of a unique place as far as providing childcare in the community. If you would be able to obtain reimbursement through this process, where would you get that done? And frankly, in Chillicothe, there weren't a lot of options. So we decided that it was best as a facility to do that locally. So we provided the space, we got the contract for the providers. Again, no cost. It's really an absolutely incredible program. So 41% of veterans would choose that option if any. So that's me. That's my extension. That's one of my titles. And I am certainly able to talk about this at any point. Give me a call. If you're driving through Chillicothe and you're going north on Bridge Street, you'll see our new sign. If you wait for a few minutes, there's a few signs on there. But it's got my phone number there as well. At any point, I'm Dustin Dover. I'm happy to talk to you. Get folks in, please.
With the up to 3 hours,
Yes, sir.
is that per appointment? Because sometimes you get sent there, you have 2, 3 back-to-back appointments, then you get sent down for x-rays. Then you gotta go to pharmacy. So is it per appointment? So if I have 3 appointments that day, will they go past the 3 hours?
You asked a really good question, and what I'm gonna tell you is that our goal is to make sure you get the care you need. Okay? And I'm gonna stand at this podium and tell you 3 hours. If you've got a really busy day, you just let the girls down. I'm sure that we're gonna get it. What we don't want is somebody to go down for an appointment and then not give us an emergency contact and you end up off campus. So you gotta stay on campus while we're taking care of your kids. Okay?
Next.
And I want to stress, this is different than daycare.
Absolutely.
This is, if anybody's been to a gym where they have childcare, the idea is, okay, you're not going far. Now, the good news is we got a 308-acre campus. It is pretty far, but that, you're accessible and that you're coming about. This is not meant to be, great, I'm dropping you off at 7:30, honey. I'll see you at 3 o'clock when I get off work. This really is very focused and I think, that's part of the safety element there. Is I want our fire department, our VA police, our overhead paging system to be able to reach you as a parent. I think that's a reasonable expectation. I think our veterans understand that.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good analogy. It's very similar to what you would get at the gym when you're jogging. It's not intended to be a Monday through Friday day here, but the staff there will have access to see if you have appointments and what's going on. So there's kind of a trust situation. Anybody have any other questions for me? All right, so before the meeting.
All right, thank you, Dustin. Before we get over to Ryan Jeter, who is going to be online, I do want to also reference who else we have online for those who may have questions for other departments. So representing the VA in a virtual capacity would be whole health, community care, BBA, social work, privacy, connected care, and voluntary service. So if you have questions for any of those departments, we can answer those as well. So with that, I'm going to move over to our Chief of Engineering or Facilities Management Service, Mr. Ryan Jeter.
Hi, folks. You able to hear me okay?
Yes, Ryan.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I apologize for not being able to be there in person. But I've got a couple slides here just on some of the highlights of our construction program. So we're in the electronic health record that Mr. Mortimer mentioned, required a lot of infrastructure upgrades and technology improvements to be able to support that. So if you've been on site lately, you've seen a lot of excavation and digging. That's all related to the health record modernization project. Most of the outside work is done. We're getting that cleaned up. And we're still doing a lot of the inside work, replacing data cables and fiber optic lines and whatnot to support that so that the clinicians have the technology backbone they need to make the health record work for everybody. Go to the next slide. We got a couple other projects that we're working to keep the facility running well and modernized. We're replacing some of our old emergency generators. So we've got some generators that were still hanging around from as far back as 1969, if you can believe that. We've got that replaced and updating a lot of those things. We're replacing some elevators in several buildings to keep that modernized and updated. And we're replacing a lot of the control system in the community living centers. All the modern HVAC controls are computerized and they require frequent updates to make them work effectively to keep things comfortable and also to improve energy efficiency, which reduces our overall operating costs. Go to the next slide. And this slide is kind of busy. It's got a lot of words on it, but really it's kind of a projection of the projects we've got coming up for fiscal year 25 and well that we're funding fiscal year 25 that are going to construction in fiscal year 26, and the projects we're going to start in fiscal year 26, which is coming right up. So out of the fiscal year 25 projects, we're going to be doing a complete renovation of primary care space. So that's going to modernize that, make it into to follow the PACT model, which is what we use in all of our C blocks. So if you've been to some of the C blocks, it'll look familiar to that. And plus it'll consolidate primary care all in one place. We're going to be making some improvements to CLC showers. And then we're going to be doing some construction again to renovate another part of building 26 to give us some flexibility for additional inpatient units. We've got a couple other infrastructure related projects that we're either going to go for construction and or start design for in fiscal year 26 for fire alarm and nurse call and whatnot, just to keep the facility as updated as we can. And that's what I've got for you folks today.
So Ryan kind of is more than modest when we talk about our electronic health record modernization process. That is I think, Ryan, where it's $57 million.
In total, that's about correct, yes.
So it's a $57 million project that his team is managing. And to give you an idea, this work is the equivalent of pulling every nerve out of your body and putting new ones in. It's, you know, a crazy amount of work that his team is overseeing. On any given day, we have, I think, several hundred contractors on site pulling cable. The idea here, as he said, is to make sure that we're not trying to run a Corvette with a Honda Fit engine. We've got a Corvette of a system. We need that level of a backbone to run it. Sir, in the yellow.
Do you guys pull in fiber optic or Cat 7 or Cat 8 or Cat 6?
So we're replaced the entire fiber optic network from our main data center to every building. So they all have home runs with redundant lines. And then inside the building, all the we have lots of different cables all the way back to like I think we have still some Cat 4. Everything is getting replaced with Cat 6E or higher.
What repeaters are you putting in?
I'm sorry.
The repeaters, I think we're looking, I know we've got Juniper. They've replaced a lot of our wireless access points with, I think they're Juniper and beyond.
How are you keeping the wireless secure with records?
So it's Ryan, stop me when I'm wrong, but we have the two biggest first front-end projects are using the federal security domain.
Yeah.
And the federal grade encryption.
And also lastly, is it most of the information be up to cloud or is it be just?
So again, Ryan, this is where you need to jump in and correct me. The data system actually runs because we're using Oracle Health as the provider. So it's run out of their a lot of the stuff is run out of the cloud to their data centers. But again, managed with that federal IT, the same way as the DoD. DoD is not storing this data locally. So we're going to be on the same type of security system that DoD records are stored.
So if some data breach would BA be held responsible?
You know what, sir? That is a question above my pay grade. But I would tell you that in the event of a widespread data breach, there's going to be a whole lot of people from the Department of War and the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Coast Guard actually asking a lot of hard questions. So, but the thing is, there's two types of organizations: those who know they've had a data breach and those who haven't. So those who don't know. So we're highly attentive to that as well. Ryan, did I say anything wrong?
No, I think you had everything pretty well correct there. Thank you.
Good question, sir. I get the sense this is a profession.
Yeah, I got IT project management, but I can't work because I'm at VA too many times a month, so I can't really get a job.
Sorry to hear that, but thank you for your service.
All right, any other questions for Ron before we cut loose? Seeing none. So before we bring up our next presenter, I do want to put your attention to the back table there. For any of you that have not gotten your toxic exposure screening or have questions covering the PACT Act, there's a lot of great literature on that back table. And of course, those at the back of the room can also answer questions directly if you need it. So with that said, it is my honor to present my boss, Chief Veteran Experience, Sarah Spikes.
Hello, good morning, welcome. My name is Sarah Spikes. I am the Veteran Experience Officer for Chillicothe VA. I came to share some very exciting data with you today. One of the ways that the VA collects data from our veterans is through something called V Signals. V stands for veteran, and it's an email survey that our veterans receive. Has anyone in the room ever received an email survey from the VA? Yes, thank you, thank you. Did you complete it? Thank you and thank you. So we use this feedback to make improvements, to share where we're really doing well and where we have opportunities for improvement. So today I'm just going to talk about, in general, a couple of our different surveys. So this first one here on this slide deck here is for our outpatient surveys. So that's kind of just generally all of our outpatient services lumped in together. If you have the slides in front of you, on the far left side in blue is Chillicothe. The center bar in orange is our kind of our regional area here. And then gray is our national. For this slide deck and all the slide decks, higher is better. And as you can see for this particular one, for this fiscal year, we are doing better than both our VISN partners and our national partners in all of our outpatient, what's called customer experience domains. At the bottom, you'll see the different kind of categories of how questions are ranked. So we have our ease and simplicity, our efficiency, quality, employee helpfulness, transparency, which is basically fairness, satisfaction, and then our trust. So I'd really like to just point out that for most of our surveys, for outpatient, which is where bulk of our surveys do come from, we're doing better than our visit and national partners in all 7 of those domains.
So before Sarah goes on, anybody ever seen it where 95% of the time somebody says something in the government is easy? And yet, our veterans are seeing that, it's easy to get the care. And when they get the care, they are almost unanimously expressing satisfaction with it and trusting it. And again, 97.5% of the time, people are saying they're getting the care quickly. That means a lot to me. That means we're doing right by you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Very good point. Thank you. This slide here is for our primary care for this year. And as you can see, there's six domains across the bottom. And compared to our visit and national partners, we're doing better for this fiscal year in 5 out of the 6 domains. We have a little bit of opportunity. Well, we always have opportunity. But we have a little bit of opportunity for our employee helpfulness, which is basically meaning, did my provider listen to me? Was my nurse listening to me? So we just need to do a little better with listening. But overall, we're doing very well in primary care as well. And then the last slide I wanted to share with you was for our community care. So what this survey is even if you're not receiving care at our VA, and we're sending you out to the community for any type of specialty that we may not be able to provide to you, we still want to know how that is, how that experience is going for you, because we need to evaluate how we are working with our community care partners as well. So for this survey, we're doing better than our visit and national partners in all 7 of these domains as well. Does anyone have any questions for me about survey? Yes, sir. You get the prize today for the most questions.
I'm the VSO in Fayette County, so I do have a lot of questions, but, what category do you guys put CMP compensation in?
They have their own separate categories. And
Okay, so they're not in this at all?
they're not lumped in with here, no.
Okay.
If you would like some data, I'd be happy to give you my contact information if you would like that information.
Okay, I'll wait to see that.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Okay, thanks so much. Alice?
Man, you guys are really making me nuts today. So I am not bringing you data. Sorry. But I will tell you what we've been up to in our public affairs and outreach sectors. So a lot of events, as you all well know, for those of you that have lived here most of your life, central, southern, southeastern Ohio is fair and festival haven for anybody that likes that sort of thing. And we've done our best to really jump in as many of those as we could. So this is just a quick list of some of the outreach events that we've been to over this past, say, 3 or 4 months. And surprisingly, the one that was heaviest attended, I joked about it a lot, was the 157th annual Bean Dinner. So just hearing that kind of makes me chuckle, like, what in the world is a bean dinner? But we had a lot of veterans out there. And our whole intention in going to these smaller events is to go to where the veterans are at instead of bring them to us, because we want to get as many of our veterans enrolled and taken care of as possible. Terry, go to the next one. So we got a lot of events that we're hitting up, and we're going to continue to do that. Terry.
Oh.
Terry.
That's fine now.
You know what?
Oh, there we go. Hey, all right.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, we just got Terry a computer. So
He's joking. He's joking. Terry has a computer. He's my assistant. He works for me. I promise you.
So, he's fine. So a continuation there of what we're getting into, and what you're gonna see a lot of here is not a lot of fairs. We've been really heavy on fairs over the past 600 or so years, and we're adjusting from that. So we want to get away from that fair environment of come to our table, grab a handful of pens and magnets and all that, and send you on your way. Instead, we want to get to these smaller events. And instead of bringing you refrigerator magnets, we're bringing you information. Now, that does turn a few people off because they want to fill up their goodie bag, but we're more in the business of changing the lives in your pockets and in your healthcare than we are handing you out some deeply made pens. So you're going to see that change a lot. You're going to see us at less fairs and more of these smaller, like Galactopolis Honey Fest and things like that. We will still hit up some big fairs. You'll still see us out there, but our focus is transitioning, and we've seen over the past 3 months, our enrollment numbers are showing that this is absolutely the route that we need to take moving forward. Terry? There we go. Look, first time on the 0 button there. I'm proud of you. So.
Hey, we'll make it to the.
Make it light of the guy that brought me out here. So what we're looking at as far as targeted outreach events, we want to partner outside of our fairs and festivals. We're looking at a shift more towards large employers, military units, military recruiters, and universities. That's been an area that we haven't really hit a lot of in the past few years. And I wanted to bring that up to our Fayette County VSO. This was the main point for him, but he took off on me. We're trying to get more to where our newly enrolled, or I guess newly signed up service members are with these recruiters. We believe that your last day in the military should be your first day priority. We're seeing a huge drop off in those saying, well, I didn't even know about the VA. I didn't know I was eligible. I thought I had to go to combat or anything like that. So we want to get them as they're coming in, partner with these military recruiters and say, we've got to start addressing this when they're 19, 20, 21 first coming in. That way there's less of a drop off once they get out. So we're going to start hitting that pretty hard, as well as going to these military units, those that have battle assembly or drill weekends. We're doing more and more of that. We're doing yellow ribbon programs. So we're making a shift on not only veterans that are out, but those that are soon to be transitioning and those that are just now joining, because at some point they're going to need that service. We want to get more involved in our VSO partners. So of course we do our community stakeholder meetings on the road as well, but we want to get out more face-to-face with our outreach coordination staff so we can answer questions, put out information, and get everybody on the same page there. And the biggest thing that we have is dispelling information. How many of you have been sitting, at VFW or at a bar in your hometown and heard a veteran say, well, I'm not eligible because I make too much money? Or my buddy down the street said, I can't enroll for whatever reason. We want to get in front of that information and fix that. We hear a lot of, I don't want to take from a different veteran because I feel fine, but somebody else may need that care. We're trying to get in front of that misinformation as best we can. So we're really targeting down on that. We're going to continue our yearly VSO visits. We try to get face-to-face with every VSO partner we have. And right now, for those of you that have had the pleasure of meeting Thomas Vega, our former outreach coordinator, he has moved on to DLA, so he's on to Brown Pastures. So we are in a transition there, but we will get somebody new spun up and trained as soon as we can. So what do we have coming up? The big one there, Veterans Day ceremony. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is probably going to be one of the best events we put on in a long time. Dramatic pause. I mean, it's going to be great. We've already locked in an incredible guest speaker. Some of you that have had the pleasure of hearing the story of former Green Beret Master Sergeant Sean Clifton. He's been all over the world, all over the nation. He's been on Good Morning America. He's going to be our keynote speaker. So we're super excited to host him. And we're combining that with our Vet Fest. So you'll still have the free food, all those resource tables. We're going to do flu shots, hopefully a blood drive. We'll have a couple of food trucks there. So it's still going to be a party like it has been over the past few years, but we're going to combine that into one celebration on Veterans Day. And there are some flyers on the back of the table for that, or that back table for those, as well as our big food security task force holiday gathering coming up in December. So if you have anybody in your areas that may have some food and security concerns, we have our annual holiday meal coming up for that as well. And lastly, Terry, there it is. So as you all well know, September is Suicide Awareness Month, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. We've had a lot of events at the Chillicothe VA, and we're rounding it out with our big one, the VA Rocks Hope, Battle of the Bands. Local favorites, Sugarloaf Shakedown and Marquee 66 are going to be playing. And again, info booths, food, caricature artists, a lot of fun. That's going to be tomorrow. Today's Thursday, yeah, tomorrow free events at Building 9 on Chillicothe VA campus. So those are the big things we have coming up. Before we get to questions, any of you that are on social media, we do have pages on social media. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter. We have put a lot of our information out there as well. So if you are on social media, not following, please do so. Also, if you would like to receive direct emails from the VA, or specifically from our VA, we can set you up on something called Gov Delivery. That way you get those direct email blasts. If you want to sign up for that, just come see me after this. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
And this is the time for general questions too.
Absolutely. Nothing, you will.
I don't have a question, but I do have a thank you. Caught up in Pickaway County. You guys came last weekend and did our fair with us.
Yeah.
And it was pretty successful. I think you guys enrolled a few people anyway.
We did, yeah. We want to keep doing stuff like that.
We
Absolutely.
had about 67 veterans. Lot more people than that there. It was a good event.
Thank you. And keep us in mind for those events. We want, if you say we're having a resource fair or a vendor fair, absolutely throw that info our way and we're going to take some information out. That's what we're here for.
Are we going to a certain show that involves
Pumpkins?
boards that, yeah, pumpkins?
Yeah, we will be, as always, Circleville Pumpkin Show. If you tell me there's going to be 100,000 people somewhere, I'm going to be standing there flagged to VA info. So we will be at the Circleville Pumpkin Show this year. That's next month. Those of you that have never been there, check it out. Pack your patience, which is a lot of fun. That's one you want to check out for sure, especially for any of those that are, pumpkin spice fans. Terry. No, I'm telling you, he's gonna leave here. So with that, that's everything I have. Now's the time for open floor questions. If you have anything that we haven't covered, any of our partners online, any of our partners here in the room, if you're just here for cookies, they're over there. But feel free to mingle, come see us directly, hand off business cards, that sort of thing. We're here for you until they tell us to go on.
Anyone online with anything?
I'll do them into silence. Yes, sir.
So you guys by the ESO, so you guys go to like, Ray Patterson, go over their task class and do this information?
The short answer, but the better answer is not yet. So there is, I think we can all agree the transitional portion, like leaving the reserve or anything like that, it's absolutely lacking. I've gone through task class myself 4 times now.
Yeah.
And I assume within the next couple of years, I'll have another one. Since I'm deploying next year, I'll go through it again. We absolutely want to get better information there, more engaging information, so that it's absolutely on our docket. As we wind down the end of fair season, we're going to refocus for the next fiscal and calendar year. And that's one of our top priorities, is getting to those exact locations for that reason.
I want to add too that we're talking about what Chillicothe, we're talking about the work of Chillicothe.
Yeah.
We have, partners in Dayton, in Cincinnati who are engaging with their local organizations. So I can't necessarily tell you what is being done out of Right Path by the Dayton VA.
Yeah.
But I can say is Chillicothe may not be doing it, but we talk a lot. Like I'm on the line with my peers across Indiana, Ohio, and a certain state north of here that shall remain nameless, we talk daily about issues. And when things come up, I think those are important. So we may not be, but our partners, that doesn't necessarily mean our partners aren't. And I want to put, one other plug to kind of what Alan said, which is we're always looking for engagement partners. So, if I see sheriffs and police, if there's an opportunity to do crisis intervention training or working with veterans who are potentially being engaged in the criminal justice system. I'd like to say that never happens with veterans, but the reality is very different. So if there are opportunities to serve veterans more fully. Maybe not directly with us, but with knowledge, materials. Having a good way to ensure that when somebody needs to come to Chillicothe for that mental health care, who do you call? When you got a veteran in the back of the squad car or in the ambulance, and you're just confused at how best to handle it. Let us be a partner to them. If you have an employer in your community, I know Pickaway County is getting ready to, got a lot going up that's going to end up being an opportunity to employ veterans. Well, those veterans could want to know about what their benefits are as they're getting a job in the community, or connecting to a whole lot of veterans who may have a skill set that's useful. You in the VSO, we got VSOs here are tied into your local community. We've got individuals from various who just are tied in to connect and connected. Help us connect for veterans. That's the ask. You're supposed to come, if you're someone in my shoes, you're supposed to come with an ask. So the ask is help us partner further. And we've got great partners here. There's not a person in here that I don't think is as committed to veterans as needs to be. So I want to invite that. Help us help your veterans and help us work together with that. Sir, you said you had a question.
Yeah, is there any talk about expanding for the program for the homeless veterans? Because I'm with the BSO office also. And, we don't know when the homeless vet's going to walk in, but it happens. And then, it seems like a lot of times it's a 3-day wait, 2-week wait. If anything being done or expanded that week, so if we call, get something happening for that veteran almost instantly.
So I can actually speak to, let me pull it up here. Recently, the VA, this is the headline, VA awards 84 million in grants to fight veteran homelessness. So there's a huge push coming to that entire community. It's 84 million in grants to 176 organizations across the country, 42 million to cover legal services, and another 42 million will go towards case management services. So there is a tremendous push being.
Part of the option is to put them in a hotel, drain the bank account, or counting money. But, and then we're sitting with them for 2 weeks, sometimes 3 days, sometimes instantly. So I didn't know if there's ever talk to expand that, since you guys are listening full time.
And we do have a homeless veteran coordinator as well, Amy Jones. Yeah, so she'll have that info as well.
So what I'm hearing from you is you already have access to our team.
Yeah.
One of the challenges, and I think, a lot of this grant funding, whether it's coming through the Staff Sergeant Fox, grant program, supportive service for veteran families, one of the things that I think we lack, and it's something VA can't provide, but I think together we can work on, is that crisis housing. There's not a lot of crisis housing, I know, in Ross County. There's work to get some of that going. But I think hearing from you, that is a big concern, is crisis housing, because if you're in a housing crisis, you're in a housing crisis now, not 2 weeks from now. Maybe if you're lucky, things are coming, but I think, to your point is, that's going to take a whole of, local, state, federal government engagement process too.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
You guys are,
They don't walk in and say, I'm going to be homeless in 2 weeks. They walk in and say, I have a place to sleep right now.
Right. And that's not necessarily something we can solve through staffing up our program, that there's nowhere to go. So I think the work that the funding coming down may help with. I think more broadly too, that's a challenge, and it's a challenge to get landlords. Same situation. So we are definitely, our team is acutely aware of that, and would love to work with you all if you have any ideas about how we can collectively work around crisis housing. Sir,
what's the timeline of the money coming down?
it was just a press release today, so
Nothing announced yet.
there's no process. There's no process or how much is going to come to individual states. I think it's this, that they've signed the papers. So now it's time to get the work.
So it's not just Chillicothe, it's across the state.
Oh, no, if I was getting $84 million to solve homelessness, I would be over the blessed moon. No, it's national.
Okay.
But if I could get $84 million, I could solve veteran homelessness just by putting up a tower with naught but beds. But hope springs eternal, friends. Talk to your elected representatives.
I know that you have a lot of beds. How many of the beds are, what's the,
Transitional housing.
yeah, what's the rate for maxed out?
So if we were full, we would have 277, no, 203. To be full, we have 203 occupied beds across some of our hospital-based stuff, residential rehabilitation programs and community living centers. We're authorized for 277,
Your
but our
average
current
rate,
demand doesn't start. What's that?
your average rate.
Average daily census, I showed you on the slide, is 175. Right now, as of today, we are at 90% occupancy, so we'd be
Okay.
somewhere in the neighborhood of 181 folks in beds today. Great question. Sir, in the back, you raised your hand slightly.
Yeah, I got a question. You guys, you deal with a lot of veterans, dealt with one last weekend, PTSD psychiatric issue. You guys have good connection with courts, the court good, part of their sentencing,
So,
the VA trying to protect.
so our Veterans Justice Outreach, Jason, you work with that team quite a bit, don't you? So I'd say Jason can get you in touch with the right names, but we are actively engaged with at least a couple of counties with actual dedicated veterans courts, where the judge is actually having a dedicated docket just for veterans, along with, hey, if you graduate from this thing, we're gonna expunge your sentence. We'll work, but so you may be convicted, but you go through this program and we'll wipe the slate clean there. I think along that route, the crisis intervention, making sure that, we're fully equipping our local law enforcement, state, regional law enforcement. We do a lot of that engagement through our VA police and less so through our VA fire department. So both things.
All right. So we had somebody went forward, arrested. The biggest question, how do we notify to get the person if they need the help for that incarceration?
So, that would be, I think, a referral through either, if they're not enrolled in VA healthcare, if they've never used VA healthcare, through Ashley, and her team. If they have a VA provider, getting them, getting some kind of, set.
All we need, parent, all we need is a team that we can send you our jail. Start a process, which amounts to if they're incarcerated, they'll get some jail. With the veteran, trying to treat the matching or that's something that's gonna help.
So there's something I can give my guys that, hey, when you arrest a veteran, that's the biggest thing. I want the resources that we can give them right there.
Jason can get you contacts for our VJO program. I'm sure they'd love to work with you. Again, and the other thing is, because I know courts are often a county thing or a locality thing. We're certainly open to working if you have a judge who's particularly passionate about working with veterans, and wants to establish a veterans court, and a veteran docket. We have, I think, connections with other judges who have done it. Because again, I think ideally, we'd like to have that person, graduate from a program, a substance use program, things like that. We want to get them connected to a resource to where that criminal record, they work their way through it.
Okay.
But I think Jason can help you for the law enforcement officer side of things, and then more broadly in the justice systems, making sure we're if somebody wants to establish a veterans docket or a veterans court, there are absolutely connections. And I tell you what, I have not seen a whole lot of judges happier than when they graduate their first veteran. It really, I've seen that in a couple of different places. They feel really good because it's actually doing something for paying a veteran. Awesome.
Mr. Mortimer, we're about 15 minutes over.
Okay.
I want to honor people's time, and it's been a great conversation. Anything to close us out?
Last thing I have to close everything out would be with the modernization of your guys' systems, one thing that everybody always complains about with the VA is the daggone extensions. There's no list of extensions for people to reach the right departments. They call, they're bounced around to 6 different places, call the drop. Can we get a extension list on the website?
There is a phone list on the website. But what happens is the way that the call center phone trees are set up, even if we give you an extension, if that specific clinic is built into the call center tree, that extension is going to go to the call center tree. So if you're looking for, like, majority of the time, what I hear is, I want a direct extension so I can talk to my nurse on my primary care team. Well, there are good reasons as to why they built those into the call tree, so you can speak to a person immediately when you call, because a lot of times, and Jackie could probably speak to this better than me because she just left as one of our call center supervisors and our newest patient advocate. So welcome, Jackie. But majority of the time, the call center team is able to address the need immediately and get that veteran taken care of. If we were to just open the lines back up to the primary care nursing staff, which Adam's rest of his hair would fall out and he'd look like me, then there's going to be a lot of voicemail follow-up. They're going to be spending a lot of time and delay instead of getting that issue taken care of. So it's not as easy. And I've been part of this system for over 18 years. I understand what you're talking about. When I used to be able to just pick up and call Tammy and Tammy just got it taken care of. Yes, but there was also a lot of delay for a lot of people in those scenarios. And so the call centers they're attempting to get it taken care of in the moment instead of relying on those delays. But I'm a guy that likes to pick up the phone and just call Tammy as well and get it taken care of. So I understand.
And I'll add to Terry's situation, to comments, which are 100% correct. Catch-22, everybody wants to talk to a human and everybody wants their problem solved right away.
Mhm.
And the two won't always balance out because you can't always have your human on the other end of the line all the time because they're doing face-to-face care. It is easier to do that at a site like Chillicothe that serves 23,000 veterans a year. I will tell you, I worked at a facility earlier in my career that had 93,000 veterans, and it was god awful. The more veterans you're trying to take care of, the more you need this distributed system. I will add, and I think it is a well appreciated tool that our veterans use and love, and is often, if you don't have an urgent need, is secure messaging. I cannot tell you how many things our veterans get solved through a secure message to their team, which does go straight to their team. We have a very low escalation rate. And I know that because Sarah rides herd on it. And if it gets too high, you've already seen how focused Sarah is in getting the job done with our satisfaction. So her office rides herd on those escalations. But generally, if you have a question that can wait 72 hours, if you send a secure message, I'd say about 99% of the time, it's getting addressed within the 72 hours. Just an option. A lot of veterans are like, I want to call anybody. I want to call somebody too. I also want the results I want. And those secure messages, in many cases, are addressed within 24 hours.
And the new VA.gov app is phenomenal. It gives me, for instance, it gives me all my veterans benefit information in one spot, print letters. I got all my Healthy Vet information on that same app. So I got one app, one-stop shop. So if you don't have that new VA.gov app downloaded, I would highly suggest that and get yourself set up on that app.
I think the main issue we run into is with the older veterans.
Yeah.
They don't have smartphones and access to computers. They just want to, if they need to schedule an appointment with podiatry, they just want to be able to dial the number and dial the extension, schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
That's the problem I think we're running into with, the app is phenomenal. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So one option, we have our Veterans Health Resource Center. I think we still operate that every day. which is a place if a veteran has a smartphone and they don't know how to use it or get it set up to use the VA.gov app, we have somebody who will help them set them up and actually show them how to use it. They can just come in, it's in the lobby of one, not too far from VA Kids Care, but in the main area of the Welcome Center. Highly encourage people to take advantage of that because, then it's like, how the hell do I work this thing? I ask myself that with my wife's iPhone because I'm an Android. How do I work this thing? And getting a human being to walk you through it. Some of the veterans who love these systems the most are the older veterans because it opens a door of connection to them and we can help them feel comfortable and confident. So we've got a human being who will help you. I'd say available most of the time. And if they're not there right away, asking somebody at the desk, we can get somebody. Sir.
So what did you say that was called?
Veteran Health Resource Center, VHRC. It's in the Welcome Center, right near the urgent care in Building 31. We can help people get signed up. Ashley.
So I'm just speaking because my staff are in the Building 31 urgent care area, so a lot of times there's not somebody actually sitting there readily available. So if you stop at the desk where the urgent care sign-in desk is, you just say, hey, this is what I'm wanting to speak with. We message them immediately and then just ask you to wait in the lobby, and then they come right down and assist you at one of those workstations. There is a greeter desk, and there's a greeter available, those who are volunteers, and they can assist with that as well.
So, and this covers things like getting set. I think we help people sign up for ID.me, VA.gov, the apps. Hey, this, I want to do this and it's not letting me do this. We have staff who can help with that. So even if the desk isn't staffed at the moment, getting with the greeters or with our urgent care check-in folks, will get somebody down there to help. Because I get it. There's so much out there. And I want to wrap us up with this. We're here, we'll stay until host 25. By the way, thank you to great hosts. We are absolutely 100% committed to our veterans, to you. I want to thank you for your service, whether in uniform or in service as a family member, caregiver, or somebody who just really wants to support veterans. Every one of us has a stake in the success and the treatment of our veterans. They remain and always will be a national treasure. And I'm so glad to be able to talk to you all today. Look forward to more great conversation and networking throughout the rest of the afternoon. You guys are very good. All right, thank you all.
If anyone wants to conclude.